Good day and welcome to Tommy's Holiday, Episode 8 of my adventures in Acadia National Park, a boat tour of lighthouses. I'm on the Islander, which was booked through Acadian Boat Tours in Bar Harbor.
Can I come aboard? Thank you.
We will be visiting 3 beautiful lighthouses on this 3-hour tour, and we'll be about 7 miles out to sea. I found a spot up front to get a great view.
All right. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today?
Great.
Yes, I saw some hands in the air. My name is Nicole. I'm going to be your naturalist and guide today on our trip out to Petite Manan. My crewmate Amber, she checked you in at the top of the dock. She's going to be running crew as well. She'll be around the deck, intermittently behind the galley. Both of us are naturalists on this trip today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask either of us.
A map of the sea voyage to the lighthouses is found in the cabin, and looks like it'll be about 4 hours to see all the lighthouses as we travel through the Gulf of Maine.
It was low tide a little bit ago. The tide's currently rising. High tide will be about noon, 12:30. So early this morning, that sandbar was fully exposed. Saw a bunch of people walking across it. You can walk right over to Bar Island. That sandbar is just off of Bridge Street. Bar Island has a very short little trail, takes you down along the length of the island, has a little summit marker, which is really just a pile of rocks and a stick. If you go off the trail a little bit, you can explore some of the very old farmhouse foundations that still exist on the island. People did used to live out on Bar Island, so many of those landowners donated that land to Acadia National Park, and it remains part of the park today. You don't technically need a park pass to get out to Bar Harbor, or Bar Island, excuse me. Now, since that sandbar is on a tidal cycle, you are in danger of being cut off by the incoming tide. There are no less than 5 bright yellow signs on both sides of the sandbar, describing that to you. All the way on the right, that highest peak way up there, that is Cadillac Mountain. Tallest mountain on the eastern seaboard, over 1,500 feet tall. First place in the United States to see the sunrise at certain times of the year. Immediately to the left of Cadillac Mountain, that gently sloping peak, that is Dorr Mountain, named for George P. Dorr, one of the founders of Acadia National Park. That little valley is called Circumont Springs, one of the first perks of land that was donated to Acadia, sometimes called the heart of Acadia National Park. That little lump right next to it on the left is Huguenot Head, named for the French Huguenots, a religious group that settled here during the 16th and 17th century. And then just next to Huguenot Head, we have Champlain Mountain, named for Samuel de Champlain, French cartographer, French explorer, one of the first Europeans, I should say, to really map this region. Actually gave Mount Desert Island its name. The French translates to Isle of Barren Mountains or Isle of Deserted Mountains. Boy, sometimes when your locals say Mount Desert Island, I think it sounds more French. I feel a little silly saying Mount Desert Island. I say Mount Desert Island. Right now, actually, we are crossing the deepest part of Frenchman's Bay. So a little bit of geography. We are on the Atlantic Ocean. We zoom in a little bit. We're in the Gulf of Maine, between Nova Scotia and Cape Cod, down in Massachusetts. Zoom in a little bit more. This is Frenchman's Bay, the body of water just east of Mount Desert Island, between the opposite shoreline. In Frenchman's Bay, the water depth averages usually between 150 to 200 feet. This kind of valley right here, off the shore of Long Porcupine on our left and Ironbound Island on our right, is the deepest section. This one averages about 250 feet. Just off of Long Porcupine, there is a little hole in the seafloor that is about 302 feet deep. That is the deepest point of Frenchman's Bay. And coming up on the left, there is a little summer cottage with what looks to be like a lighthouse-like structure. It was intentionally modeled after a lighthouse. It's not a real lighthouse. There are only 3 types of home here in Maine. If it is where you live, that's your home. If it's where you live part of the year and it's on the coast, it's a cottage. If it's not on the coast, it is a camp. It does not matter how big or how small, all of these homes are going to be cottages. This is our first lighthouse of the trip. Captain Caitlin is going to turn the boat so both sides should get a nice view. Decommissioned, it was put on auction, where it sold for a whopping $500 period. Even in 1933, that is dirt cheap. Another notable resident of Winter Harbor Light was the author William C. Holden III. He came into possession of this lighthouse, put nearly $2/3 of $1 million into it, refurbished it, updated it, actually gave it electricity, running water, added that second-story addition, turned it from really a kind of remote offshore lighthouse to a kind of luxury vacation home. That's actually because of the Schoodic Peninsula that Acadia Park gets its name. The park's name was changed to Acadia, which is kind of a derivation of the native name for this whole stretch of land up into Canada, a bit down farther along the coast. This likely means there is a big bait ball just underneath the surface, large school of bait fish. Into view of our final lighthouse. This is Egg Rock Lighthouse. So there's a lot of different wildlife that we will see here. Namely, we have a resident population of harbor seals that hang out here that we'll hopefully get to spy a bunch of today. Now, before it became automated, it was built back in Ulysses S. Grant's administration, 1875, and it was a manned lighthouse. The building that you see there was used by a family who would man the lighthouse, operate it at all times. Mentioned earlier, the Porcupine Islands, named not because the animal is there necessarily, but because they kind of look like porcupine when seen from high above in the mountains of Acadia National Park.
The morning lighthouse boat tour was windy and fun. A beautiful day, and we saw plenty of birds and seals. Back at the dock, it's time to disembark and head over to lunch. Thanks for watching Tommy's Holiday.